Hello, good afternoon. It is the Everton Daily Live. Hello, James. It's Monday, the 2nd of December. The Toffees were hammered yesterday in Manchester. It's raining today. Liverpool are going to win everything.
Yeah.
What a weekend. How are you, mate?
I'm all right. It's just another weekend of disappointment, really, isn't it? It's just, it follows the bingo again, where last week I was saying how if you just had a checklist for what's going to happen in an Everton game, you could tick it all off. Start well, don't act on it, then we concede and then we crumble. And then it's just happened again.
Dear me. 2 wins all season. 12 goals scored from open play in the last 32 games. 7 wins since December. And we're in December again. Grim.
Yeah.
And I've just seen someone say, name a better manager who could have done a better job. I'm not even going to dignify it with an answer. Yeah, it's grim, isn't it? It's rubbish, and people have been gaslighted into thinking this is the best it can be and all that. And that's, again, each to their own. I'm not subscribing to that. You know, managers have different ways of doing things. Managers have shelf lives and all of that stuff. We need a change.
Yeah.
It's the way it is. We need a change. We need a real proper change, though. It's not just a case of needing a change. They need someone to come in and do totally different stuff to what's been going on.
Yeah.
You know, football's moved on. Football's a modern game now. You're seeing it with every team you watch. Goals flying in everywhere. So the days of trying to contain teams doesn't work anymore.
Yeah.
And it's that's the way it is. And we know there's going to be a new manager because the freaking group are going to change him. We know it. He knows it. The players know it. And that doesn't help either.
No.
So it's just an apathy that's there at the moment. And it's sadly, the defeat like that, we've seen it all before. You just sort of go,
Yeah.
what's this before?
Yeah.
You know, what's the
do you
same
think
thing?
the reason is for them waiting now, though? Or is it just when they get in, they want to just be able to do everything at once? That's what I've been confused about mainly.
Yeah, I don't understand it,
Yeah.
but I'm not a billionaire buying businesses.
Yeah.
A lot of owners like that fanfare of, hey, look what we've done and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Me personally, I'd have changed it.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless, if I'm buying it, I'd have spoke to the owner and said, yeah, you know, we'll change it.
Yeah.
We can change it. Get someone else in and let's go. Doesn't matter whether we're in the door now or whether we're in the door in 2 weeks. Get it changed.
Done, yeah.
Because the danger is games are just flying by. People just keep brushing off the defeats, going, oh well.
Yeah.
But games are going. And before you know it, you're going, we need 8 wins in 11 games. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That kind of thing where you just almost haven't seen it. That sleepwalking into relegation kind of thing comes to the fore, and that's I don't get it personally how they made the change. They've made the mind up they're gonna change them. Then why haven't you changed it?
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's the weird thing. Other clubs have moved. That's the strange thing.
And it's sort of like he knows as well that he's gone.
Yeah.
So it's like, how's that positive for anyone at the minute? And the players will know he's gone. So, I don't know.
It just feels all very weird. It just feels very weird. And the big thing for us, I guess, is United weren't even that good, are they? And we got beat 4-0.
No.
You know.
That's
weird.
The first 25 minutes, half an hour, there's such a good chance as well.
Mm-hmm. We've he's now presided over more 4-0 defeats in the Premier League than any other Everton manager. And he's had 2 this season. So it's not the stats aren't good for him. The numbers aren't good for him. Players aren't doing their job either.
Yeah.
You can have a go with the manager, and you know there's not much. I don't think anyone has got a real proper defence of the manager now. With results wise, that's what they're paid for. They're paid to get results and make players better. And if you're not doing either, you have to move on.
Yeah.
That's just football, whether you like it or not. But then players as well they've got to start stepping up. This isn't good enough.
Yeah.
It's not good enough.
A lot of mistakes, a lot of just sloppiness, and just whether it's the tactics that's like making them do that, or whether it's just their individual quality. I think it's just I'm sick of seeing like 5-yard passes just not go to the player and stuff.
So frustrating,
Yeah.
Andy. Daniel says, afternoon all, feeling super flat today, not excited for the next 5 or 6 days. Tony says nothing from the club or media about our situation. We aren't sleepwalking to relegation under dates. We are sprinting like Usain Bolt towards it. Where are we? Sean says grim is an understatement, unfortunately.
I saw something before, and it was the game against Wolves hasn't sold out yet. Just really sad considering it's Everton's last season that you can still buy tickets for it.
You always sell out.
That's what I mean.
Well, that's what I'm saying about that's what I'm saying about apathy.
Mm.
It's like people just go. A while ago, I'd have got tons of messages yesterday after that.
Yeah.
From people gutted, like, Evertonians, mates and all that, like, what's going on? No one. Everyone's just like, this is what this is the manager, this is the players, this is the fans where we are now, this is what the club's like now.
Yeah.
And that's the way it is, and I saw it at Brentford.
Yeah.
People are just like, can't just get this season over. Like, get the season over. That's
the last one. Yeah.
So, Jay says, Emma Fair says, every manager on borrowed time should have some self-respect and ambition. But he's not gonna go, is he? Why should he? Getting paid, isn't he? Jay says, why does he constantly bring up the past? If it wasn't for the mess the club has gone through, he wouldn't be in a job. He should be grateful he's got an opportunity, that he's got somehow a Premier League job. Kev Murphy says, I swear Dyche goes to bookies before the game and bets on us getting some. I don't think, listen, whether you like him or you don't think Sean Dyche ever wants anything other than to win the game. And that's the way it is. So,
not even to draw.
I just think he doesn't want to concede. He's just that he can't help what he is.
Yeah.
Right? He can't help what he is. He's a manager that is more cautious. He's a defensive manager. So that's what he is, and that's how he kept Burnley up. So if you've done something in your career that's you view as being successful, then you're gonna keep doing it, because that's the only sort of way Sean Dyche can't turn into a manager that plays attacking football.
Yeah.
Because he can't. That's not him. So he'd be going against all of his own,
it's like values
and principles. So that's never going to happen. No, Kevin, no. Listen, I know. He's too slow with everything he does. His subs and all that. But that's
him.
That's just the way it is. There's no, it's no point moaning about. He's not changed. He's never going to change. So I just sort of accept that. You just go, I did hear him say he's got a good... Yeah, I did hear that state. It was one of the most bizarre statements I've ever heard from a manager. But that's... He's got to... Don't forget, he's fighting for his own job, isn't he? Or, in fact, he isn't even fighting for the job. He's fighting for his reputation. He's trying to make sure that when he moves to his next job, he's putting these messages out that he does. So... And that's what they all do. It's not. This isn't something just for Sean Dyche. A lot of managers do this. A lot of managers go on about stuff they're doing. Even Mourinho's on the end of his managerial thing now, isn't he? And he'll still quote things and comes out with things, and people are looking and going
about what he's done before.
And stuff yeah. You know,
that's what people are saying about Pep now, isn't it?
Well, exactly. I mean, look, if Pep Guardiola can be getting pelters, when he's been as successful as he has and all the stuff he's won and all that, then that's it. But that's football. football management, they're paid big money.
Yeah.
It's a high pressure job where you have to deliver. They don't need people making excuses for them, and some people do make excuses for them. They don't need that. They're there to do a job.
Yeah.
They're there, they realise the stakes when you're up there, and that's it. The scrutiny, and some of it's called for, some of it isn't.
Yeah.
Really, but that's the way it is, and that it's Premier League has got eyes on you from everywhere, and even within the Premier League, managing Burnley and managing Everton is a world. It's a whole world of difference.
Mm-hmm.
What's expected, the fan base, the passion of the fan base, what's demanded. The same as if he left Everton and went to United. The scrutiny would be even worse at United, and his tenure would be even shorter, because you've got to deliver. If you can't deliver, you're out.
Yeah.
And that's just the way it is, isn't it? That's football, isn't it? It's getting more and more. And Everton is like a coiled spring, our fans now, because we've when people go, oh, you know, they're not patient, they kick off. It's 30 years in May that we last won a trophy. We've had nothing really in that 30 years. We are unbelievably patient. Unbelievably patient. But you have to take all that on board, and you have to get results, and he hasn't got results, so that's why he's under pressure. You know, that's the way it is, and you see it. You see it at other clubs. You see other clubs. You watch football, and you go, I can see that something's turned now within that, and that's not coming back.
Wait, so do you mean like the actual like playing styles dated more, like, or is it that the players can only play for them for so long?
Yeah, I think it's just football just moves that quick, James. It moves on, and things that people were doing good 3 years ago are starting to be stale now, and you're going, is that? And that's why things are always, you know, I sitting here listening to our you know, Redmen colleagues, well, you know, people in the building, and they talk about Klopp as if he was holding them back.
Mental.
But stuff Klopp was doing, Slot's changed. Slot's a little bit he's got a bit of that, and he went a bit fast and frenetic yesterday, didn't he, early on, and knocked City out the stride, and then he went back into a control style. So you always got to tinker. Mm-hmm. So I think the likes of Sean Dyche, I put him in the same thing of like the likes of Sam Allardyce and Pulis and people like that, as in defensive like managers. Look at that, like keep it tight. We'll nick one at the other end and all that. But football, there's a reason why those managers aren't in the game anymore. Mm-hmm. And younger coaches coming through aren't doing that. They're doing different. So everyone has a tenure. Yeah. And it gets shorter and shorter and shorter because the next thing comes along. But what I'm saying, the point I was trying to make is you see it at other clubs. You see when a manager's on the final knockings of his time there. Yeah. You can see it. And we're seeing it with Dyche, but we saw it with Ten Hag. Mm. You know, Lopetegui, I think, probably
close to it.
And he's only just got there. Yeah. You know, Steve Cooper, Leicester weren't having him. What's he lasted 12 games? He's gone. Yeah. You see it from clubs and you go, something's not quite as right it should there. It's not going to go back to whatever. And that's just the way it is. Difficult. It's not easy, of course. It's not easy, but that's why they paid big money. Because it isn't. They get a load of scrutiny. Things have got to go your way. Mm. You know, if you're, again, I've said with the manager, right? I've said with the manager, had he have come in when he came in and never been given a player and had to just have that one group of players, then you'd have all the sympathy for him. To go, well, this was happening 2 years ago. But he's one of the longest serving in the Premier League now, and he's had money spent. Everton have spent money and brought a lot of players in for him, but you can't still trot out the same excuse, and he does. Yeah. So that's where I go, no, not having it, sorry. Yeah. Sorry, you can't keep going because governments do that.
So it's like, it's a bit of a combination of sort of his style's getting a bit old, and also some of the decisions he makes are quite confusing, and they don't really make sense in like the long run of things, like the stuff like that.
Don't get me wrong, it's not all him.
Yeah.
Not all his fault, of course it isn't, but you've said it before, it's like it's easier to change. It's easier to change three, 4 staff than 25 players.
Yeah.
That's why managers get sacked.
Yeah.
And managers get sacked. They know when they take a job, they're probably getting sacked.
Mm-hmm.
That's the nature, unless you're able to do what Klopp did and sort of go, I've been that successful that I'm calling it now. I'm coming to the end of it.
He's tired.
He's tired or whatever, right? Most managers get sacked.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is. That's football. If you can't accept that, then
Shouldn't be manager.
shouldn't be manager. And I think fans have got to accept that as well, and most fans do.
Yeah.
And some people get wedded to it. I don't understand personally how you can be wedded to someone that doesn't win games of football. I find it astonishing, but everyone's got their own view on it. So I'm not here to tell people how to feel. I've got my own feelings, and I feel a certain way, and I'm just devastated.
Yeah.
Absolutely devastated that this is crap.
Yeah.
We've won. I can't remember it a time when Everton won 7 games of football in a year. I honestly can't. It's never happened.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the way it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
You've got to. And when when a manager goes into a football club, he's got to always be improving. That's the goal. You don't go into a job and keep the job the same. You don't go in and go, I'm going to start with. Everywhere you go, you're trying to get better and better and better. Exactly. And yet, there's been no improvement. Coaching, the best managers are the ones who improve players and make them much better footballers. They're the best coaches, and they operate everywhere. They operate in different divisions, different countries. You see them.
Yeah.
That's why there's a buzz about them. You get good coaches that'll go to clubs, it won't work for whatever reason. You come away.
Yeah.
You get good managers who who you go, I'm not sure about this fella. He comes in, does a really good job, and you go, he's done quite well, hasn't he, or whatever. But football's moving so quickly. Everything's marginal gains. There's so many staff and that now.
Yeah.
It's fast moving.
Yeah. Like Dyche might have been great 5 years ago. It's like now his football's not really working anymore, and that's sort of what you're saying. That it just passes by. I
just think football just moves. It's like it's why I don't want Mourinho.
Yeah.
I wouldn't really choose Jose Mourinho because he's unbelievable. His record's unbelievable. He's won unbelievable trophies.
Yeah.
And he'd probably come in and do a good job. He'd come in and do a job and you'd go, Jose, and you'd be like made up with it at first, but that'd probably come to
die down.
A shorter thing where he then starts putting a divide because he blames people and then he goes after people. He's a better version of what Benitez does. Benitez goes into a job and looks for fractures in the club to start building his power within it.
Yeah.
Josie is a better version of that and is still obviously successful, but you're looking and going, is that what I want? Or do you want someone who's going to try to galvanise everybody and take them forward?
Yeah,
and we need to look I think we need to look and rebuild. Look and go, right, we've been doing this, like we're going to go this way with it.
Yeah.
This is the way we're going. We're all on that.
It's a different approach to like transfers and stuff like that.
Got to, haven't we? Because otherwise we just keep going. We just keep going back to the same thing. It's like, David Moyes. Okay. David Moyes, my opinion, much better than Dyche as a manager. Much better still. Right? Dave Moyes comes in, great, I'll back him. Want him to do well and all that, right? But should Everton be looking for the crutch of David Moyes to go, he's been our manager before?
Yeah.
Or should Everton be looking and going, and this is just a rhetorical question, this I'm not saying, or should they be going, no, we want to change what we're doing and move in a different direction, because if we go this way, in 18 months we're doing the same thing. It might even be less than 18 months, we're doing the same thing. We're looking again going, right, what's happening?
So to take that risk.
So you now take it and go, we need to get someone in now and start getting these players building towards something different.
Yeah.
We've got a takeover coming. We've got a new stadium. You can almost do the reset.
Yeah,
There's a
loads of players
fantasy.
going too.
There's a fantasy that you leave this manager in place till the summer, then you change it, and it'll
Clicks.
start going forward, because that's a lot of change. So it's difficult. It's difficult, isn't it? It's difficult. People are very upset, very wound up, very hurt.
Well, you spoke about it before as well, when you were saying when Everton first got Moyes, it was a bit of a risk, wasn't it? And
yeah, he's 38.
Yeah.
And in the Championship.
Like the manager before, the football wasn't great either. And obviously it paid off, so sort of you want Everton to take sort of that risk again.
You don't get, if you're not successful doing one thing and you keep trying to do it, then why would you ever think that you're going to be successful? Because that's all we're doing.
Yeah.
We just keep kicking the can down the road and going, well, the next one.
That's going to be good.
The next one will do it. The next one, will sort it. I mean, you've got to go, no, actually, we're gonna do it this time. We're gonna pick the right man, and off we go.
Yeah.
Jez says Dyche's grinning face on the daily like a gaslighting troll. Jake says, I've been patient, but enough is enough. Get him gone now. He's a stain on this football club. Calls the fan base them and they. Constantly deflects, never takes the responsibility, and is absolutely inept as a manager and a coach. Dyche out. Fletcher says, I just feel a grand sense of abandonment surrounding our club at the moment. Steve P said this from the start, but Mikalenko is not Premier League standard. I don't believe he starts for a single other team in the league. That game highlighted how embarrassing our fullbacks really are, and if I was a potential new manager, I wouldn't agree to join us until I was guaranteed an instant first choice left back in January. Dan says, at a total loss with this club, Dyche has to go, get an interim in until the takeover. What's Dyche's defence for his record this season? Plenty of problems from years ago. That's not going to cut it with these new owners. Rob says every week is a big week for us. This is no different. Michael says, do you think Mashiri would have sacked him if we hadn't won a point? Or are we just plugging along to the Championship? At what point do people start to believe he can get the sack? What do you mean if he wouldn't have won a point? If we hadn't won a point? When do you mean, Michael? I think Mashiri would have changed it if he wasn't selling the club. By now, absolutely I do. Martin says, I was done with the manager weeks ago. He's drained the life out of any enjoyment of going a match. We can all accept losing games. It's the constant negative tactics, picking the same players, and his inability to change and try new things. The only hope is new owners are ready to sack him day one and bring in a new manager who's tactically aware and forward thinking. This 7 wins in 12 months never makes the mainstream media. They just peddle a line. Dyche is doing a good job, and what do Everton expect? A bit of fighting pride would be a start. Bob says, has he gone yet? To be honest, I don't know why he still has a job. 11 points after 13 games is enough to get any Everton manager the sack. Never mind one with a game plan devoid of any structure or end result. Please go. Dyche out. Nathaniel, think we can all agree the takeover can't come soon enough and Dyche will be replaced. That being said, I thought the players were absolutely terrible yesterday. 2 of the goals were direct mistakes from us losing possession, and the third goal was appalling defending. I actually thought United looked quite pedestrian in possession, but if we're going to make basic mistakes like that, you're asking to lose. Correct. Rob says, I vowed a month ago never to watch another Everton game while Dyche is in charge, and I've stuck to it. Don't want my day ruined by this shower. My mental health has taken a real battering over the last 3 years by our once great club, but I'm managing to keep it together. Stay strong, Rob. Blue Keeley, get rid of Dyche and get someone in the interim, if need be, the under-21 coach or Baines. They can't do worse than Dyche. This from Michael, if the freaking group are waiting to be in before they sack him, that's terrible and not a good look already. Do the right thing, not the thing that looks good. Yeah, if they've made their mind up, then why are they waiting? Gary Ward says, bold prediction, the next few weeks are gonna suck. Harry says, when do we reach the point where more exciting progressive managers we want for the longer term will take a look at us and think, nah, I'm not risking my reputation on these? Could be there now, Harry. Couldn't we? Really? Tony says, I'm well and truly done. I can't watch us with this man in charge. Them changes at the weekend were a disgrace. Can't make a change to go for a win when we have had close games in the past, yet when we're 4 down, he decides to make 5 changes. If I was Patterson, I'd have told him to F off on Sunday. He hasn't had a sniff of game time, but gets put on to save Young's legs. He might as well have just gave him another slap across the head. No player can want to play for him with his tactics and mentality. Grant says, how long will it be before fans make him know how we feel at games? Silva and Benitez had banners in the crowd. Not saying it's right, but surely it's getting to that level. Gavin, another worrying thing is I haven't seen the usual Seamus battle cry put out by the club when we're in this position. I hope they haven't broken him too. Brian says, oh, you started it, yeah. Nice one, Bri, for buying the 2 Christmas jumpers. Yeah, there's no 1878 this week. The lads, Ped's away, Dave is working, so we had 15 minutes earlier to start today. Rich says, I think he's done, lads. He's killing us all. He'll win on Wednesday and stay. I can see it now. Harry James Tattoo said, I saw this stat. Oh, yeah, the 4-0. Yeah, he's presided over the most 4-0 defeats. Mark Mack says, McNeil, when we were 4-0 down, laughing and joking with Rashford was disgraceful. Drop Tarkovsky, Michalenko, Decore, bring in Patterson, O'Brien and Mangala. Yeah, interesting. Would you make changes for Wednesday?
Well, I think Patterson, when he came on, I mean, we spoke about it a bit, but he was overlapping and he was getting in front and he whipped. A few of his crosses weren't great, but there was one where Calvert-Lewin had a real good chance, and it was what Calvert-Lewin, what he sort of made his name with under Ancelotti, with that header where it's in the 6-yard box and it's low. And with how the defence was against Man United, I don't really think there's any argument to keep either of the full-backs in. So I just don't see why. I don't see why you wouldn't freshen it up a bit, have an attacking right back who is going to whip it in. So for me, Patton's got to start, but it's whether or not you change the centre half really is the question.
Bill says, another horrific, spineless, gutless display from the players and manager. I've thought it for weeks. We will not win another game under this manager. The change needs to happen now. We'll not beat Wolves or the Reds. Grow some standards and remove him and give the fans a lift. This club is drowning and the next 2 months look tough. I'm torn on the Moyes situation. Or is it a long-term solution? That's it. That's the flip of the coin, isn't it? It's either Moyes, safety of Moyes, or it's actually no. We're gonna move forward. We're gonna get someone in who's gonna actually change it, and has wants to develop players and all of that, and that's really all you have to look at.
I mean, you said it as well. They're not bad players. There's definitely enough players in there to get a tune out of them where we could score goals and attack well. And there's good young players as well that can be developed. So I don't think it's like we need a defensive manager because we have got no hope. Like sort of when we got Lampard and there was no real striking options or attacking options, that was more scary than what it is now. But I just think the performance is so bad and someone could easily come in, I think could change it up instantly near enough.
Gray Lead says, for all the important metrics, the goals, the fabled XG shots, pass accuracy, Everton the 19th or 20th. Never fear though, we're second in long balls and offsides. If Dyche stays, we're down. It's that simple. The Friedkin group need to completely gut this club the instant they're in. A club made up of complete and utter losers. Max says, I think the back line that ended the game yesterday should be given a go. Except Young for Michalenko. Can't be much worse. James says, Everton Football Club, we know you watch the shows. It's never too late to do the right thing. Get this manager gone. And John says, I've just watched an interview with Potter on YouTube. I'd have him at Everton in a heartbeat. Dyche out. Well, he's a coach, isn't he? Yeah. Tet says, Baz, I'm getting really frustrated with Blues telling us we can't do better than Dyche. It makes me more angry than watching Everton, honestly. Yeah, listen, I don't get it when people, and I've got to say it's a couple now, really. It's the few and far between, I think, people who are trying to say that, but I don't understand it, personally. But Richard says Moyes is like the ex-girlfriend. She's familiar and comfortable, but she wasn't right then. She's not right now. We're living in the past. No, it's the safety thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's the safety blanket of, it's Moyes and he knows us and he is a good manager, but are you feeling long term? Are you looking long term? Do you want to set this club on a direction that it can get away from where it's been? Or do we just sort of saying we're basically, this is what we are now, we're just a club that stays fighting near the bottom.
Yeah.
And if you do that and accept that, then you will get relegated.
Yeah.
It will happen.
Definitely.
It will happen because people accept lower standards. And we've seen that with some Evertonians accepting it. Oh, we'll be all right. We'll be all right.
Yeah.
It's December if you won 2 games. And then, but the club are already accepting it. It's not on the fans. The fans don't really get to make the decision. The club are accepting it, and therefore standards just drop.
Yeah.
And when your standards are that low, the next season they're low, you get relegated.
Yeah.
Can't keep
accepted really.
Hoping to hang on.
Yeah.
Because what's the point of that as well? That's not an existence. Just going, we might stay up. We should have enough to stay. I mean, what a terrible outlook. We should have enough to stay up.
Yeah.
That's so bad on every level. You should be saying, we're going for it this year. We're going to be well better this year. We're going to go up. We're going to get in Europe. We're going to get, we're going to win a European trophy. Whatever. That should be your aims, your targets.
Yeah.
Not, we might have enough to stay up. And I don't understand why how people have got to that stage, really. But, no. Where are we? Ian says, I can't see David Moyes taking on a 6 to 7 month contract. We need to look for a more dynamic manager who actually can adapt to the league. I think Moyes would want more, wouldn't he? I think Moyes would want more than that. He'd probably want 18 months at least, I imagine. Tony says, instead of Moyes, we should be seeking out the new up-and-coming manager rather than turning back the clock. Yeah. Ganymede, who's a YouTube member, says Dyche needs the club in the bottom 3 to get any kind of response from the players. Then that's not good, is it? Really? Phil said Carlo took us on and improved us, didn't do his reputation any harm. Corin says YouTube member, he needs to go now. This manager is done. It's depressing. I'm sick of this club. I'm done. Had enough of this rubbish. I'm paraphrasing. Lee says lots of fans have been drinking the Dyche juice that he feeds us. He wants you to think the team's worse than it is. There is a team that, and there's more. They are more than capable. Fletcher says, if we're turning back the clock, going for a former manager, then we need Carlo back, not over Moyes. Is he going to leave Real Madrid? Can't see it.
You really like Crosby, though. Might want to go back to the beach.
He did like Crosby, but...
And the Strand.
Does he likes Madrid, though, doesn't he? Dave Murray says there's lots of managers out there, just like there's lots of players out there in a big wide world, yet we keep going to the same well of short-term thinking. Yeah. It is that, isn't it? It's being brave enough to go, we're going to do something different. This is the vision. This is where we want. This is what we want our team to look like.
Yeah.
And that's who we've identified and we're going to do it. Otherwise, you just sack them and you go, David Moyes.
Yeah, well, you said it, didn't you, that before we got Dyche between him and Bielsa, which are two far apart styles of play.
Ridiculous.
So it's like they're just throwing a manager at players who don't really suit them, or I don't know. It's just...
Well, even now, if you look, you go, the options I know there's other ones like Conceição and people like that have been have named. But the options, if you read some of the things, are David Moyes, Graham Potter.
Yeah.
And they're different, aren't they? So, Matt says the players look done with this clown. Can't see him getting another point for us. Tom says Sunday was one of those results that in a vacuum would be terrible, but in context is absolutely dire. Yeah. Astros in the comments, hello mate, says it's a failure of imagination to think that Everton couldn't do better. It's that kind of small-mindedness that has got us to this point. The club is chock full of losers who are paralysed with a lack of confidence and initiative. We're a club at the high-stakes table with scared money and a busted flush. Throw his hand in with Dyche and make a change. The time is now. Yeah, I mean, again, it's when you're looking at results and everything else, it's difficult to understand other than they want to be the person that makes the change.
Yeah. It's just a bit of a sad time, innit? It's just, are you meaning it in a way like I don't know, like switching it?
Well, they're not the owners of Everton Football Club right this minute, are they?
If you was going to buy something, and you see it like a problem's going to happen to it if you don't make a change, surely you'd make the change.
I don't understand it.
Yeah, but John said the opposite. That's not what happened, didn't he? But I don't understand it at all. Especially, if it was Mashiri's gone by now. Mashiri would have probably acted a few weeks ago if it was up to him. So they must have some element of control for him to not do it. That's what I think.
Kezi says, I'm not sure how familiar you guys are with the NFL, but my Sunday afternoons go from watching Everton get battered to watching the Jets be embarrassed. Not exactly ideal. Oh, Kezi, you're having a mare there. You're having a mare. Blue and White Risers, Brandtweit learned attacking in the Netherlands. What wasn't Dyche, former centre-back? He was. Andy Mann says Joe Hart's comments on Dyche only being bothered about a clean sheet should speak volumes on validity to the naysayers. And Philly's also YouTube member says new ownership can't come soon enough. Nobody at the club can make a decision to change the management. Danny says we have to win Wednesday. Anything less is unacceptable. The players have to step up. Not for Dyche, but for us, the fans who are there every week. No, but that's it, isn't it? You go out and do it for the fans. Even if you don't like the manager, bin him off. Go out and perform for the fans and yourself. Gavin says get rid of the fullbacks against Wolves or play Dixon and Pato and just go 3 centre-backs with no Tarkowski. KC, maybe the freaking group are being gaslit by the board, says KC. Emma says, Andy, it's as clear as day, goals aren't a priority. Sophie says, the freaking group can't sack them as they aren't our owners yet. And it'd be against the Premier League group. Well, of course, because they'd be influencing it, wouldn't they? You're right, Soph. They can't make that decision because they're not the owners. So, but people who are still there can.
Yeah.
Jez says the chat about accepting these lowering standards reminds me of that quote. How did you go bankrupt? 2 ways, gradually, then suddenly. Ernest Hemingway. You're absolutely spot on, mate. And that's it. And then people, if the worst did happen, then those people who've been defending they'd be kicking off. What's going on here? The club or not? No, you were defending the issue because you've been gaslit by the issue.
Yeah.
Got to look at everything. Got to try and freshen everything up. It's not working. When something's not working, you have to change it. It's just part of life. Buck says it's definitely going Groundhog Day every week and has been for the last couple of years. No, absolutely is. Absolutely it has, mate. Casey says, would you rather, for me obviously, would you rather spend a night in the jungle with Dyche and Dickie Masters or drink an Orange Club milkshake? I'd drink an Orange Club milkshake. Just the thought of it making me feel sick. Yeah, McNeil laughing wasn't a great look, so to be fair, when you're 4-0 down and you've been one of the worst players on the pitch, it's not a great look. Not a great look. Andy, who's a YouTube member, says if Friedkin didn't pay the wages, he can bin Dyche. If there's changes needed now, not on Friday, it's an important derby on Saturday. It's the last one at Goodison. I don't think they look at it like that. They just look at his 3 points.
Yeah.
SCE Customs says the 2 assistants wind me up. They're useless. Always talking between themselves, hiding their mouths. Does my head in. Dyche out 2 months ago. Okay. Gavin says if we went down, would we actually be surprised? Some would. Yeah. Some people would. Like, you know, the old thing where the city's on fire behind them. They're like, nothing to see. They relax. Nothing's happening. Yeah. And then people will be stunned. No one told me. We might go down.
Are you surprised that there hasn't been as much of a cry from the fans over Dyche? With other managers, you've seen a lot more heat be put on them when performances haven't been going well. But for Dyche, it's not really been much going. Don't want to say what because it's inciting it, but
no. I think the fans have just
done.
Everything's on the fans. Everything.
Yeah.
They've been on the fans to keep them up.
Yeah.
You know, the fans have been battered from pillar to post. They support them every week. I don't think you can put it on the fans. It shouldn't be on the fans. No, I'm not
saying I'm not putting on the fans.
No,
I'm just surprised that there hasn't been as much of a cry for it.
I don't know whether people are just battered, mate.
Yeah.
I think people are worn down by it, genuinely worn down by it. I think, 5 years ago, it would have been, 5 years ago, they would have been on the case. But it's been, the last few years have just got worse and worse, haven't they? We had COVID, and then Benitez started like the rot because it was such a divisive appointment.
Yeah.
We didn't need to go that road. We were in a good place. We had money.
Yeah.
We didn't. Okay, Carlo just left, and that was a bit of a kick in the balls. But we didn't need to go that route. We were just coming out of COVID, the lockdown stuff.
Yeah.
We knew we were going to be back in the stadium, and they went for a horrific appointment, which started to damage the club really poorly.
A lot of good players.
Went crazy. And everything, and you know, and obviously some of those players will have had to go maybe wage wise, but that's what we did. I just think it's that sort of start. That sort of started it. We've made bad decisions. We've cut quality in the squad.
Not really replaced them with any
and
quality.
Chose the wrong managers.
Yeah.
We've just chosen the wrong managers. And that's why we're sort of where we are. And then so when people are getting, when we're getting beat and people, and you're asking that question, which is a good question, is, do you think people haven't made as much of it? Are you surprised they haven't made more? You sort of go yes and no. You sort of go, I can understand why they haven't, because they're sort of just going. But you expect the people who make the decisions to be responsible.
Not for it to be on.
And to go, right, enough is enough, or whatever. We're the fans, we get told things, don't we? Yeah. And we go in the ground and we watch our team play football, or we watch it on the telly if you can't get to the game wherever you are, whatever. And you just sit there and go, yeah, this is my team. But there's people whose responsibility it is in the club, hear things and know what's going on behind the scenes and what's going on at Finch Farm. And the minute you're thinking it's not all roses, then you make the change.
Yeah.
Every other club does it. So why are we sort of now going shy away from doing it? But I think people are just knackered, mate. I think people are just like...
It's just been so much negativity and constantly spoken down.
And you can't, like, again, like I keep saying, like, why is it always on the fans? You know what I mean? Why should the fans have to go and take bloody banners in and or kick? You know what I mean? Like, everyone's got their own lives.
Yeah.
Everyone's living their lives as best they can. And yeah, your team should be the thing that you want to watch and you get excited about.
It's like an escape sort of.
Exactly, that kind of thing. And it isn't. And for too many years now, it's just been... And it's not even... It hasn't always even been the football. We've been battered by the Premier League.
Yeah.
You know, this is happening. Takeovers that have just dragged on ridiculously. Not so much this one, but we've been getting sold for nearly 2 years. You know...
It's been about 3 different people now.
MSP, really the Kaminskis... MSP, 777, Freaking, oh no, they're in, they're out, they're in, oh, we're back in again. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Add all that onto points deductions, relegation worries, the back end of COVID, just life in general, watching a team that has scored 12 goals from open play in 32 games.
Yeah. Mix
all that into a washing machine and then spit it out and go to the fans. Like, you have to, I'm not saying you did say that, but what I mean is then expecting the fans to go, right, we'll pick this up, we're driving them standards. Manager, sorry, this isn't good enough, you need to move now, and we need a new one in. That should be done by people who are up here, who are controlling the club. It shouldn't have to come to the fan base. There should be a prerequisite to going. You have to win these games, mate.
Yeah,
you can't have 13 games of football and have only won 2 of them and be Everton's manager. I'm sorry, they're our standards, so... You have to step aside. Thank you very much for what you've done. Shake his hand and off you go. And that should be the same thing with the next manager that comes in.
Yeah.
If you have 13 games, mate, you've won 2 of them, and we're not scoring goals and it's not, then we're going to be shaking your hand as well and patting you on the back because we have to. We're a club that we should be driving ourselves towards the top. You have to aim to get there, want to get there. You don't get there by having shoddy standards.
Yeah.
And that's at the football club right now. From the way we done the capacity to things like that, running right the way through.
But you look at all the teams, even academy and women's teams, none of them performing either, really, no. They've been at this for years, so maybe it's just a bit of everything.
It's sad, but I can't really sit here and go, oh no, the fans should be doing more. I just don't think. I think the fans are. I think the fans have done everything they can. I think the fans are the ones who are the consistency. They're the ones who turn up. They're the ones who do perform every week, home and away. They're there in the pissing down rain watching us get beat 4-0. You know, and they'll be there, we'll all be there Wednesday night. You know, and then we'll have to pick ourselves up again if it doesn't go well and be back for the derby against these who are flying and... You know, they're going to turn up and be bouncing. They're expecting to beat us and all that. And you've got to go to the well again. You know, and it just goes on, it goes on, it goes on. And I just think it's really... I just wouldn't be putting it on the fans this time. I just think, you know, fortunate for the management and the coaching staff and some of the players that they're not putting it on them.
Yeah.
They've got away with it a little bit, really.
You just see some of the stuff that have happened over the years.
When it was like 3 defeats on the run.
Yeah.
There's a crisis where now we don't score or attack or anything. And it's just sort of like, that's what we are.
That's Everton now.
But the level of player isn't terrible to do that. So that's my 2 pence worth anyway. That's my 2 pence worth. Just check Premier one more time. And the recruitment hasn't been good enough either. It has to be said. It hasn't been good enough. You know, in a league that is about pace, we've just somehow never managed to buy any, which is crazy.
Yeah,
absolutely crazy. Dan says there are a lot of creative coaching solutions to our troubles on the pitch. Problem is Dyche. He honestly believes he's doing a great job. Graham says at least the Seahawks put a smile on my face after watching Everton losing and hearing Dyche spew out his usual crap after every game. Get him out of our club now. Derek says, I really thought I was going to wait to the news that the dinosaur was gone, but the silence from the club is deafening. Dyche and Thelwell have to go now. Matt says, I'm really scared for the rest of this month, including Wednesday. A decision in 2 to 3 weeks when the freaking group come in is 2 to 3 weeks too late. He has to go now because the damage he'll cause could be too hard to come back from. Astro says, question for Baz, is this the worst situation inside you've seen Everton with? If not, what was worse? Now does it compare? Playing quality-wise, nowhere near the worst Everton side I've seen. Astro, nowhere near. I've seen much worse Everton teams than this. The tactics, I've not seen much worse, I've got to be honest. It's probably the worst, most negative tactics. That includes Walter Smith, who played with 6 centre-backs at times. At least we sort of try to score. But I think the whole thing collectively feels, put it this way, this is the biggest disconnect that not only I've felt with the football club as a whole, but hearing different things from people, how they feel about our club and just in general, is probably the worst situation I've ever experienced in my life in terms of Everton. As in, people are just like, yeah, a year left at the new stadium, then I'm done. I'm walking away from it. I hate them. I can't. This, that, and the other. People getting beat. People not bothered. The total apathy at Goodison Park.
So much uncertainty around the club with everything.
Uncertainty. Really. People are just like, yeah, so what?
Yeah.
Who cares anymore? Because the club don't care. That kind of thing is the worst situation I've ever experienced in my life as an Evertonian. The team seem much worse than this. Play much better football than this. Gray Lee says, staff from X, 32 games this calendar year, 12 goals from open play. Yeah, it doesn't surprise me, mate, honestly. No one should be surprised when you watch us. Steve P says, did you hear him say we can't solve the striker issue with a checkbook? Didn't we spend 30 million on Beto? And on that note, we're going to leave it. Right, if you just want to hear some footy chat, me and James will be doing MTAG. I was reading something about that. The freaking group are following Everton now on X and that kind of thing. Whatever that means. We'll be chatting in about 6 or 7 minutes on More Than a Game, talking all the other clubs who cross the halfway line, shoot and score, them kind of clubs. So
direct you after this one as well.
Yeah, straight over. Yep. You don't have to do anything. Just leave this stream on. Get yourself a drink, a sandwich, have a comfort break. And me and James will be back in about 5 or 6 minutes to chat other football on that one. So thank you everyone who's commented, done all that. Subscribe if you haven't. Thank you very much for that. Do the same on MTAG. See you in a bit.